Yeah,
almost,
everybody's in.
I think
Everybody's
almost
here.
everybody is here. Yeah.
Ah,
So Dagan, the
ah,
floor is yours.
hello. Good morning, everybody. How are you feeling?
Morning, we are great.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Waiting for the rain.
How is are you experiencing summer where you're at now, or are you more experiencing like, hey, it seems like fall? So if it's summer, I want to see a big smile. If it's feels like fall, you can go like, uh, uh, oh, okay. It's evenly spread. Big smiles and thumbs downs. Okay. Um, so yeah, great to see you again. It's been a while that we saw each other. So obviously a small introduction when we had the master classes, but to really have the opportunity to catch up with you on your progress, both on prototyping and storytelling, because that's the purpose of this session is really to get a sense and share amongst also each other um, where you stand, what are you experiencing, but to get a kind of also general impression, are you happy where you are at regarding prototyping and storytelling? If you're very happy, hands high. If, well, all right, it's like this. And if you're not that happy, well, don't show hands. To get a sense of how you reflect on your own progress so far. So let me see. High, middle. Uh, okay, I see only one hand. Jennifer, is that one hand or yeah? Oh, two. Yeah. Okay, so it's all right. Okay. Now I get an overall sense that you're all right, but not super happy yet. Okay. So hopefully this will contribute for you to be more happy. So at the end, we can do it again. And hopefully you'll see more raised hands. But it's also, work in progress. And it's always good to be critical about, is that, what I aimed for? I'm succeeding doing that. So that's completely fine. Well, the main part of these sessions is actually will be breakout sessions in which you will be put in a room with another team, not your own, and that you share your experiences. And we'll have some guiding questions for that in a bit. But before we do that, let's have a kind of a quick poll to see what you have been up to and whether you worked on your homework. As we mentioned before, the homework was not so much as mandatory, except of one thing, which is really about storytelling, but more something we advise you to do so you can kind of capture what you've been doing. So let's start with the poll. Tendai, can you show it? Okay. So the first question is: have you developed one or more prototypes since that one shoebox prototype at the live session? Oh, but that looks good. And then the questions: have you used the test card to kind of validate your prototype with your audience? And the third question is, have you worked with the learning card to really capture your learnings and then, have a sense whether you need to adjust things or you are on par? So let's give you some more time to answer. Gradually and slowly it comes together. Two more to go. And the last one, the last participant. Okay, so 12 of 13, that's fine. Maybe not all 13 are accountable. So let's have a look at the results. So yeah, a majority did actually work on a new prototype, 67%. Have you used the test card? Also a majority, which is great to see. And then also the learning card it's a bit more 50-50, but the balance is more towards yes. And it's not surprisingly that also part of you didn't do that, because that learning is obviously the third stage of the cycle. Although we always kind of recommend to do fast cycles instead of working too long on a prototype, but kind of doing it fast, testing it, learning from it, and then going again. Okay, so this looks, I'd say, really pretty good. And now, yeah, we're actually ready now to go to the breakouts. But before we do, some guidelines for this breakout, which will be 15 minutes. Can you show these guiding questions, Tendai? Yeah, that will be in the chat. So the question to ask and to discuss with each other is, with what assumption did you start your prototyping and testing? This assumption proved to be true during the testing, or did you have to adjust it? What is your most important lesson from this cycle of prototyping and testing? Now, the guidelines for the conversations are roughly in order so that everybody has time to speak and listen. So the first person starts by answering this question about assumption, and the second one listens. We take 3 minutes for that. We won't have a clock, but I ask you to be mindful of that, because we have the experience people, when they're talking, I love to keep on talking, but 15 minutes is short, and it's really good to have an exchange. So 3 minutes, then the second person might ask a question to clarify if needed. There's 2 minutes for that. And then we turn the tables, and the second person speaks, and the first person just listens, ask a clarifying question then, and then we have at the end kind of an open exchange or discussion of 5 minutes. So do try to be short and sweet. It's important to kind of think and formulate your assumption, reflect on that, and have a discussion with your colleague. So yeah, we are ready to bring you into the breakouts. I will jump a bit between the breakouts just to listening. I won't participate, but just to listen in. And also these questions, guiding questions, will be shown during the breakout as well. So you can, if you forget it, you can refer back to it. Okay, have fun and enjoy. Okay, we are all back. Excellent. Well, I listened into some conversations and super interesting insights. So it's now about, yeah, sharing those insights in the group, what you got out of your conversation. And I will kind of, yeah, let's see who wants to start, and then, you know, point out another person from the group that you're curious about, and ask that person to share some of his or her insights. So Who wants to kick off? Who is excited to share what they have learned in their conversation?
Okay, maybe I can start. Hi guys. Can you hear me? Yeah, great. I think we've been very excited and with Terry and very hopeful and had similar experiences, right, with our target groups and how we are trying to adjust our strategies to like invite audience to our events that, you know, sometimes what you expect at the beginning, when you face with the reality, you see that, for example, when your motivation is driven on the different purposes that your target group apparently has, you need to try to, you know, switch things around, but at the same time, that's thanks to the whole like the program and our meetings and trainings, we are like motivated and inspired to do so. Yep.
Good. It's interesting again to relate to your assumption or the assumption of another and what happened with that assumption while testing, whether you're very happy because it proved to be right or that you had to change, which also obviously is very good. So yeah, please address that part. Do you want to pick, Patricia, do you want to pick somebody?
Maybe I can ask if Terry wants to add anything, because I only gave you like the general summary.
No, very happy to do so, if that's okay. Dagan, in terms of the assumption that you were saying, I think both Patricia and I, in terms of her generalisation, I think I particularly felt that the community would just go whoosh around what we were offering, and I was so and still am incredibly motivated around what our project is, and we spent some time almost not trying too hard but focusing on the value of what we were offering, whereas we learnt that the community is actually interested in the offer, and what I'm valuing and the reason I'm delivering comes out at the end by them participating and attending. They didn't necessarily have to buy into what my motivation was for delivery. It was achieved by a successful delivery. Does that make sense?
Yeah, nice. You want to pass on to somebody else, Terry, that you are curious
I'm going to
about?
say, Guido, on my screen, you're next to Patricia. So is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Here we are. I have to change the name, so it's Guido and Lucia, because otherwise
I'm Lucia.
sorry. Okay. I want to just say one thing, that regarding our assumption, we are very happy about things that are going on with our project. Talking with the friends of the Ukrainian library and talking about the numbers of the people involved, they have like 60 people for every workshop. We just
Wow.
yeah.
I'm sorry, not every. We have
Not every, but they have they have
from
up to 60 from
60
okay.
to 80.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
yes,
but we
and
had the biggest number was 60.
60, yes, and we have one, and this is, but actually this is I want to switch over this data and reflect on how our topic is so hard to to conquer or to take the stigma of that, because as when you are talking about mental health, everything is difficult. And so we take our one person for every meeting as a huge result.
Nice. Yeah, but it's also the one-on-one. It's about one-on-one and not in a group, because
Yeah, now it can also be in a group, but you know, it's like sometimes I think about the our meeting as you know, the Dance with the Wolf thing with Kevin Costner that says, "Oh, the wolf is coming here now. It's taking food by my hands," but it's a very quiet and kind of back and forth movement, and
nice.
yeah, so that is kind of okay.
Thanks.
Do you want to say something?
Yeah, you want to add? Do you want to pass the word to who do you want to pass the word?
I want to ask to Lucia if she's oddly quiet this morning.
I'm thinking.
She's the one who talks generally. So.
Okay.
Oh, I'm listening, I'm thinking, and yeah, I agree with Guido because was a real challenge to talk with people about mental health. Because, for example, when we organize this, which is not a meeting, it's a tea in the library, a very informal space. We have the people from the mental health services, psychiatrists, and
yes,
educators in the garden. Imagine a garden with a lot of people walking around, and a teapot, a coffee mug, and a written part with
I sorry, Lucia. I really have to stop you here because we also want to have you. Yes, you are very talkative, like Guido. That is great, but we need to hear also some other voices in here.
Okay, Katarina Doshan. Sorry your name, but yeah, that's you.
Tak, Doszczaczka. So to share our experience in our breakout room, yeah? So what I learned from this breakout room that during creating our project and our the main assumption are a lot of problem and maybe points which change our assumption. It's about project my my partners from breakout room, but if speak about our project with Kate, Belarusian library in Poland. And our assumption was about to protect Belarusian language abroad. We still have this assumption, and it doesn't change. And we still work with it, and it's still very actual for our people and for our community. And only what maybe adjust our idea, it's create more activities, more events to popularization our library, and that people can take books from our library and also create their own activity, for example, as book clubs, and discuss book and ideas from this book. So it's different maybe, and it depends on topic of project.
Thanks. Let's have one last person before we go on a break. Who is very eager to kind of share their conversation or what they learned about their assumption or the assumption of another person that they talked to?
Don't hesitate also to share something, as we call it, master classes of failure. Like sometimes you really have an assumption and it just doesn't meet the reality at all. And it's also fine. It's like,
yeah, absolutely.
That's what you learn from. So it doesn't have to always be like a great story with 80 people participating. It can be great story with one person participating, or it can be story with, hey, it really didn't work and we had to rethink it all over again.
So if I know I already said something, but if anyone else has anything to say, maybe I can share this failure story, actually, because I can have one. We didn't manage to talk, about everything on the breakout room, so I didn't discuss this with Terry, but it's a good opportunity, I think. So I also thought that there would be one, because most of the events were on our branch libraries across the city, because we wanted to be closer to the people and different, city areas, so they don't have to come to the main library, to the city center. But at the same time, I thought that it's going to be also nice thing to integrate all of the participants if they want to come to the main library, and invite some people who hasn't participated yet, right, to the other events. So I thought that, like, wow, night in the library, that could be really cool for teens, because my target group are teenagers, and the project is on mental health as well and sexual health. So I thought, like, wow, night in the library, they're going to have fun and so on, food, workshops, but cool, interactive way, not boring stuff, like at school. No one showed up. I mean, I did the, survey. Some people signed up, even though who signed up did not come. But what, because, it was like the end of, I think, April. So they had probably some other interesting things. The weather already became nice, and it was from Saturday to Sunday night. So probably it was not a good idea. But then you can't do this during the normal week because they have school, right? So what day to pick? So apparently the assumption that the night at the library is going to be cool for them, it was not. But as I said, even those who signed up did not arrive, and they didn't even left a message that they're not going to come. So, but I had one guest who was not from my city, Opole, so she had to, arrive and staying for the night to run workshop. It's called Nastoletni Azyl, so it's like the space for teens, let's say. This is a young group of people having this association who is dealing with mental health for youth. And so we figure out actually something that we can do instead. So it's a good,
Patricia,
actually. Yep.
Maybe we can have a green room at the end for those who have the time. No, it's perfectly fine, but we are already kind of half in our break time. So we have a short break of 5 minutes. And then we'll move to the second part about storytelling. But hey, Inka, maybe it's a good idea to have a green room at the end for those who still have the time and want to discuss things among themselves. We are very mindful of your time and aware of the fact that this is a project that is very intense, but most of you have also other projects and activities. So let's now have a break of 5 minutes. And see you here back at
11:52. And thank you all for sharing.
So we have a bit 2 more minutes. Okay.
Yes.
See you a bit.
See ya.
I think we're still waiting for some people. Well, we see an empty space with a lot of cardboard boxes on top, but not a person.
It's very, yeah. Everyone, if you can turn your cameras back on so we can start the second part.
My camera is not turned. Yeah, everything
Yes,
is.
yes. Yours is.
Okay, the others. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, only Terry is lost somewhere. Maybe she
Yeah.
is off camera. Anyway, so let's move to the second part. And now we're going to focus on storytelling. Well, been quite a lot of activities around that. You worked on your manifesto during the regional summit. And of course, or hopefully you did so after that as well. We worked on the cover story canvas, with, in other words, put yourself in the position of a journalist who is writing about your initiative. What would then ideally be the headline and a short intro, and what kind of image would that be? Been working on that. Then we had 2 master classes on pitching, delivering the perfect 1-minute pitch. And we had an introductory masterclass on AI visualization, to inspire you that although you might not feel confident as a visual person, and you don't have access to a good photographer, designer, or illustrator, how you translate your words into images, well, those AI tools can be helpful in that, to brainstorm with it. So before we are following the same structure as we had with the previous session. So we start with a quick poll, then we move into the breakouts. We have some guiding questions for you. Then we go back to plenary, and I will close off with some tips and tricks to make a compelling visual. Okay, so let's have the poll, Tendai, please. Okay, so first question is, have you worked on your manifesto since then? Have you crafted it more? Then, have you worked on your cover story since that session? And have you worked on the visualization of your initiative? And if so, did you experiment with one of the AI tools that were offered you during the masterclasses? So let's see the responses on that. Still have 2 to go. Maybe the last, because that can change the balance significantly. The other 2. Okay. All right. So let's then leave it at that. We get pretty much a good overall impression. So it shows that the majority did work on a manifesto. Great. Even a bigger percentage have worked on the cover story. So that must have been an exciting exercise to do. Also, a high percentage, 75% worked on the visualization. That's really good. And then on AI, no, so it's a minority, yet yeah, a nice 36% actually did experiment with it. I know that some people have a fear of technology, or have a fear in doing it, or are wondering which tool to use. Maybe you can talk about that later, what's holding you back. And of course, it's not necessary. If you have other means, that's perfect. Okay. Yeah, well, let's go into the breakout rooms. But before we do, let's have an overview of the guiding questions for that. Tendai, please, can you share that? Okay. So the question is that if you look at what your work you've been doing on the manifesto, on the story canvas, on visualization, but especially when you have written stuff, what would you say is your main promise, your main storyline? Kind of what is the essence that you want to tell? Usually it's just kind of one line. So that would be good to discuss that. If you don't feel comfortable with that, the other question is, what did you do to convey your story? You know, prototyping is also part of storytelling. And in the last session, we also kind of looked at people talking already about communications. So what did you do after the Regional Summit to tell your story to your audience? And what was their response? What have you learned from that? So either one of these two questions. And following the same structure, 3 minutes, listening in, clarifying question, and then the other person, and then some time for a broader discussion. Okay? Well, have fun with it and enjoy. I'll be jumping up and down between rooms, so don't feel that I'm not just listening in, but also jumping out. Have fun. Everybody is back. So let's hear some insights. And also let's hear from people we haven't heard from in the previous part. Maybe kind of drop your idea of your storyline or what you learned in conveying your story to your audience. Who wants to start?
I want. So I can say that I was in the break room with girls from Ukraine, and we have a similar, the same maybe, this no similar similar ideas to promote our own culture and our own traditionals.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's because of our similar problems in our region, Slavic region, and it was so interesting that we didn't know each other before, and in different part of our world we create, and for us it's really important similar ideas. Yeah, it's very exciting for me and interesting. Thank you, girls.
Mm-hmm. Great.
And we are from Ukraine, and I would like to share my impression. I agree with Christina. Yeah, we feel the same. We have the same problems, and we understand their idea of their project, and we support Belarus, and we want and we wish them all the best, and we hope that everything will be okay in the future with Ukraine and Russia and Belarus, and so we wish good luck to our friends from Krakow.
Nice. That's super nice. Okay, who wants to speak next or share next? Again, it will be nice to hear from people we haven't heard from in the last session.
Yeah, maybe I can tell from our experience with KI tools, because it was very crazy. We try to create a picture that includes every single part of our project. So the people, then the rainbow flag, the cup together cups we want to use, and the library dog. And we used different tools, and every picture that was created was absolutely crazy, too much colors, too very colorful, and especially the faces from the people were very horrible. I don't know. It wasn't that we thought about. So for us, the picture part or the visuals were the biggest problem. Finding headlines or writing the texts wasn't the problem. It was to create pictures or make it nice to see. Just
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you say something really recognizable, which is once you try to make a visual that is a translation of your strategy and all your goals, it's usually a mess. Something I learned, for instance, when I worked in advertising, is that if you throw 10 balls at a person, the person won't catch any of the balls. But if you just throw one, you can see it and easy to catch. I think this is a lot about communications. Do not try to put all your message in. Choose one message to give that shape. And but it's good for you to share, because I think a lot of people will recognize this. Somebody else who we haven't heard yet from before. Will.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm joining this project quite late, but I've found our conversation, really interesting, and I was actually just thinking about, I guess, the kind of communication strategy around this, and just sort of initial thoughts. I know that the sort of output from our project is going to end up on Sutton High Street, and I was just thinking there's a lot of regeneration going on there. So how can we make the project fit within like the communication around the placemaking aims down the high street, things like that. So that's interesting for me as well. I'll be making sure that we speak with our comms team to get some advice as well on linking that in.
Cool. Who else?
Well, I could share also.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Well, we have used the artificial intelligence also to inspire our communication strategy, and we as we work in the manifesto, our project is about free libraries, and our main we have different important things that we don't want to lose in our message. Is not only the libraries and the use of books itself, but also the use of public spaces, climate change, care practices, and placemaking, and the use of, and the community building. And with all of that, we designed a community campaign with. What I would like to share here. I don't know if you.
Yeah, you can. Maybe you could give her. Yeah, well, nice. I see some pictures.
Yes. Oh.
Tendai can enable Anna, make her sharing right.
Maybe I can share this, or you can share. I don't know. And
I can
and we have focused the message on people discussion about book exchange experiences. And now what we are doing at local level is focus groups and individual discussions and interviews and face-to-face interviews about people's behavior with and sharing books. And this design we have for this we have used the artificial intelligence.
Yeah, you did?
Yeah.
Interesting, because it really.
After we have to work on this, but we use it.
No, but it really shows also that you were quite proficient with it, because the illustration does not look like a typical AI illustration. It really looks like handmade. So
yeah, it's in fact it was some application in InDesign and Adobe is an application.
yeah,
And but yes, we use it. And that this is the poster, and the other side is the, because it's a poster but also a flyer. If you we have, you can see here the map with all the little free libraries in the city, and now, well, explanation and also the access to a form, a Google form, where people can also share their opinion on the project, on the impact.
nice.
So we are trying to discuss about the impact, not only from our project but also of community community exchange of books and public spaces, and also the access to books in our city, in public
Really nice.
libraries and
Looks really nice. It's nice also the illustration of the book with legs. It's nice. You know,
And
books walk and come to people instead of people coming to the books. Okay,
Anna,
good.
Anna, what did you say you used? Which tool? Adobe or?
yeah, I can share with you.
If you can share it here, I think people might use it, find it useful. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, great really to hear all your insights and your successes and fails, you know, always good. You learn more from fails than from successes. Um, let us kind of round it off, and I want to share with you, because obviously I've been looking on the G Drive in the different folders to get an impression also on how you visualize your idea, and I made some observations on that I want to share with you, and also some tips moving forward. So let me share my screen. So keep in mind, the only thing that is really mandatory in all these sessions is to deliver a strong and a compelling key visual for publication purposes. So you know we're going to create a book, and we also, the project will be online. So this one, at least one key visual that is compelling, that is strong, that is inspiring, is really important. It is also important to be mindful of the dimension. It has to be 4:3, and share drop in the drive a high res a file of at least 300 pixels. And what you have to keep in mind that it has to be clear and simple enough to also be, strong as a thumbnail, because mostly on websites you first see an overview with thumbnails, and even a thumbnail should be not too detailed. So be mindful of not too much details. And this is also important to understand: no text or logos in the visual. Okay, so those are the observations I made in general, looking at what was on the drive. There are a lot of photographs of people in libraries. Well, of course, because you are in a library, but pictures of people in libraries gathered together, it's very standard. It does not stand out. It probably won't do justice to your initiative. So if you show people, and I'll give you a few examples, make it real, make it lively, make it dynamic. So there are also quite a lot of visuals with text in it, and logos of your organization or other organizations, or a picture in picture. So a photo within that icons and other elements. It's too much. It's too complicated. And that also goes for detailing. And the dimensions, if we need to crop things, sometimes it's actually impossible. If you have a vertical standing format in the drive and we need to crop that on 4:3, it won't work. So you have to really deliver it in the right dimensions. And some of you did drop multiple images. Don't make us choose. It is okay to have, let's say, 3 examples, and then we can choose if you can't, but try to be clear about what is your main visual, what is your key visual. Okay. Now some tips on that. Basically a visual, it can be a photo, it can be an illustration, it can be something graphical or even typographical, and with that we mean 1 or 2 words in it. It can be an icon, it can be a combination. So this visual, I think, if you're talking about nature being in danger because of man-made pollution, this one captures it. Without text, anything, it's already really clear. It's a strong picture. It is colorful. It has all it in it. Film posters are also a good example because they try to kind of catch the essence of a film in one picture. And in the history of film posters, this is absolutely one of the classics. This is an example of a typographic solution for a political party in the Netherlands, which is the Social Party, shortened by SP, and has 2 words. Now SP. It was for elections. Also, this speaks for itself, a graphic or an icon like this, or a combination of an illustration and a graphic. This was done by Shepard Fairey, which is actually a street artist that was commissioned by the team of Obama to make this poster. Remember also, it's all about your story, and execution comes next. So which image captures the story you want to tell best? And what makes a story stick and what it makes it matter? So if you look at a visual, choose try to have a position in that. Make it realistic, kind of real life. Make it scary, make it funny, make it absurd, make it a critique, a societal critique, make it painful or awkward, make it really honest. And most importantly, make it emotional, make it something that touches us. So, of course, this is a portrait, but because it's a portrait of the boxer Muhammad Ali, who is, his work, his sports is represented by this picture, but also his activistic nature. Another, also a one-image illustration of a film, or a meme. This one is pretty awkward and painful. Another example of activism, 2 words and an illustration. Icon that speaks for itself. Something that gets you kind of off guard, that you see something familiar, and again, oh, but it's not that familiar. There's a twist in it. Last, a few things about if you're using photography, be mindful of the lighting. This one is too dark. This one is good. So don't take, you can make great photos today with smartphones, but you can also, edit them in a way that they will speak better. Same goes for backlight, for instance. So here's a typical a picture of a library. It is quite general. The only thing that works well here is that there's a person in the middle that has a red shirt, and that's why your attention is drawn to her. But this example is better. You see here that the position of the photographer is in the middle of the action, low. You see people in action. If there are 80 people in a workshop, you don't have to show all the 80 people in action. Just give an impression. And be mindful of a composition. You know, this is an example of a great composition. This is an extraordinary composition from a different point of view. And yeah, do not use stock photography. You know, AI can help you with that, but really make it real and make it dynamic. Okay, so this is something, some of the things I wanted to share, some of the insights from looking at the work on the drive. Okay, Inka, now to you to kind of talk about next steps.
Yes, thanks, Dagan. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. As you've heard, we will ask you, some of you, to send us a new key visualization, because this will be published in a printed book. So first of all, I really would recommend to spend some time on it, because it will be spread all around Europe. So and it will be your presentation. So if you can just spend a bit more time, you can use the AI tools, or you can just bring good picture, or you can ask someone to help you with that. Or yeah, if you are lost, maybe get back to us and we will try to help you. Just tell us, why are you stuck somewhere, or where are you stuck, and me or Tendai or Dagan will help you. I will also share with you the presentation that Dagan now showed you, so you have these recommendations for how to make the visual the best as it can be. Also one more thing, tomorrow is a deadline for those librarians who want to bring their community representatives as an active participants of the program at the Amsterdam Summit. So tomorrow is a deadline for applying for that. So if you want to present your project, please fill in the application. We've already received, of course, some, so no worries that we haven't got back to you. Yeah, and I think that's it. Thanks once again, Dagan. Thank you again, everyone. Thanks, Tendai. And if anyone has any questions, do not hesitate to send me an email with pretty much any question regarding anything about the Europe Challenge. Dagan, any final remarks?
No, I'm really kind of looking forward to see you again, to see your contribution, your images, and to see you back in Amsterdam in September. What is coming up in August is that we're having pitch training. So you have been working on your pitch, or still will be working on it, and then Anna will have in different sessions with you and yeah, help you craft your pitch, and we'll have live pitch training in September, so just before the marketplace and the summit.
Yes. So thanks, everyone. Have a nice rest of the day, and thanks for showing up.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Jen.
Bye.